All right, guys, let's talk about this weekend. I have a few things to say off the bat about this weekend. Number one, Merab Dvalishvili with the dominant win, the one-sided win. It was one-way traffic from the get-go. Perhaps his most impressive performance, and he's had some impressive ones just yet. To me, that was like never in doubt. And all of a sudden, we're looking at a world where Petr Yan has lost, 4 or 5? And I know one of those losses was controversial, but this was incredible stuff. Merab Dvalishvili, I think, shot for 49 takedowns, landed 11, and threw like something like 400 punches. The guy's a freaking machine. And I know his nickname is the Machine, but he's a freaking machine. And now he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row. His last 3 against very impressive opposition, Marlon Moraes, Jose Aldo, Petr Yan. And now he's knocking at that title shot door, but there's an issue, and we'll get to that in a moment. First, let's just give him his flowers. What a performance. New York Rick, what'd you think?
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to keep up with that pace. Any bantamweight to be able to keep up with the relentless attack and fend it off. You would think that somebody like Petr Yan, the skill set that he has, the takedown defense, the ability to counter, that he'd be the type of fighter that if anybody could do it, they'd be able to. But he showed that he's on a different level. That pace, that cardio, he doesn't. Merab's thing is he's going to take you down, but he's not going to hold you there. That tends to not be his style. He's just going to be relentless and continue and continue and continue to take you down. Most people tire out trying to do that. He doesn't, and it's going to be very stylistically. He seems to be a nightmare, I would say, for most of the top bantamweights.
GC, 49 takedown attempts, landed 11. Total strikes 401 he threw, landed 202 significant strikes, 338, landed 147. It's fucking absurd. 8 takedown attempts in the first, 7 in the second, 14 in the third, 8 in the fourth, and 5 of 12 in the fifth. Like, that's the one where you can maybe, take some time off, chill out, relax. Landed 5 of 12 in the fifth.
And it was like he knew he was going to win going into the fifth. Like, as the fourth round ended, he had a big smile on his face. He's pumping up the crowd. Like, just looking at the numbers, like, they look fake. Like, it was unbelievable from start to finish. I mean, it felt like Petr Yan was never even in the fight. Using the leg kicks, it looked like Petr Yan didn't appreciate those early on, and he just couldn't get anything going. I mean, it's so crazy how things can change from fight to fight. After the Aldo fight, everyone's ripping on Merab, saying he's the most boring fighter in the promotion. I can't believe this is how he ended Jose Aldo's career, yada, yada, yada. Now look at this guy. It's unbelievable what he just did, and everyone's giving him his flowers, calling for a title shot. It was insane. It was a masterclass. That's the only way to put it.
Unbelievable. And he really stamped. And by the way, can we just talk about the scenes? Can we talk about, little old Virgin Hotel, which used to be the Hard Rock, which has hosted many a UFC, many an MMA, many a WEC back in the day. I don't think they announced the attendance. I don't think it was more than 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000 max, something like that. The irony that this card was supposed to be at the Apex, they moved it over to the Virgin Hotels that it's now called. That means a crowd is allowed to show up. A crowd is able to show up. And not only did they show up, they were fantastic. I don't know if all those people were actually from Georgia or just friends of his or even plants, but whatever it was, it felt big. It felt important. It felt so much better and so refreshing compared to these Apex cards. And the irony that they moved it to accommodate this slap crap, this nonsense, where you get all these if you ever wanted an indication how out of touch they are, they have to drag all these influencers, quote unquote, to come to this, to talk about how great it is and show them going, ooh, 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 and then give Mike Tyson footage, and you see him posting it on his Instagram with quotation marks, so clearly they're telling them what to write. They're trying so hard to make this seem like a success, make it seem important. They're on some app that I've never heard about and probably with juice numbers. And the fact that we ended up, this is one of the greatest byproducts of all time of something that was not planned, if you get what I'm saying, that it ended up in this scene. How much better was that? You got Joe Martinez there. He's actually saying, make some noise if you are ready. Is there anything sadder than Joe Martinez saying, make some noise if you are ready at the Apex? What does he say? He goes, Get on your feet. You know when he says that thing?
Yeah, he's just like, the fighters are ready, Las Vegas.
There's no one there.
Ready? Yeah.
This actually worked. How great was that? Why, now that they did it, why can't every fight night that's supposed to be in Vegas be there?
I mean, I don't know. It seemed like the commentators enjoyed the arena as well. And I mean, the Georgian fans.
They were amazing.
Shout out. Like, there were so many Georgia flags there. They really showed up for Merab. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was like a low-key, good, like great fight night. I enjoyed it.
In large part because of the crowd, by the way. It made it feel I'm sorry for harping on this, but it really made it feel bigger and more important, and there was energy, and it was great. Yes, DC even mentioned it a few times.
Yeah. You're telling me you weren't on Rumble on Saturday night, though?
I don't know what the fuck Rumble is. And honestly, I've never heard of it, and you people that claim that you watch it are all a bunch of liars. What the fuck is Rumble? Seriously, what is it?
It's rumble.com. I guess it's a video streaming service. I'm on it for the first time right now. I'm looking at it.
Are we on there?
No shop. They have a whole tab. Like they have like news, viral podcasts, finance, and then they just have Power Slap in a blue tab.
There's no sports. It's just Power Slap.
Supposed 3.02 million views on the Power Slap.
Sure. Sure. And I'm 7'4". You know what's great about it? Like if you go on the UFC socials on Saturday night, even Sunday, like you had to go 4 rows down to get to Merab. Like if you're Merab Dvalishvili, how are you supposed to feel about that? You had to go legit like 16 videos deep to get to him. What the hell? And it's so bizarre. The whole thing, like I saw some clips. I don't even know why we're talking about this right now, but I saw some clips. Like, is it me or do the quote unquote athletes like? I don't know. Tell me if this is a wrong. Like they look like people that they took off the street. No, like they're out of shape. They're not really like dressed well. It's like,
I don't think you're required to be in shape. The uniform being, I guess sweatpants and a t-shirt.
It's just weird. All of it just feels kind of like very low rent.
It is weird that like how heavy I'm looking at the UFC feed right now. Like it's even still just like mixed in with like there's 2 UFC 286 posts and then it's all Power Slap. And then there's one, the promo you just said, which I just watched, which is tremendous, by the way. Whoever made that promo.
Oh, the one, yes.
Yeah, all around me, familiar faces.
That one?
Fantastic. Like, I got chills watching that. Shout out to that. But yeah, and then it's just like 12 straight Power Slap videos, and then it's Merab.
So happy this is going away, at least for now.
They confirmed a season 2,
baby.
Yeah,
international.
2. But when is it coming? At least we get a little bit of a break. Like this is like someone with a spoon just being like, take it. We don't want it. And you know what's the annoying thing? I have like an MMA. I guess this is me asking to get blocked by the UFC page. But it's like, I don't want to see this on my timeline anymore. I don't want to see it. I'm tired of it. I don't want to see guys who look like they came off the street slapping each other. It's the weirdest thing. And it's so weird to see respected officials like Jason Herzog and all these dudes go from the UFC event to that.
Right, where it's just like them catching them when they fall down. I will say, like the classic excuse that everyone says is like, "Oh, we don't want this shoved down our throat." This feels like it's actually being like shoved down our throat by the UFC. Like,
yes, no one asked for this.
It feels like everywhere you turn for it, they're like trying to promote it and put it up on a pedestal.
The one thing I'll say to that is,
new product.
No, read the Jason Herzog and other officials part of it. If they're going to sanction this, which I think is something that could be debated, right? Should they have in the first place? I would want Herzog. I would want like actual experienced referees at bare minimum to be able to be there to at least protect. I don't even know what they would do at some point. Like there's not really like much to protect, but at least to be able to diagnose if somebody's messed up. Because the alternative is you get like
other
Bob from the corner store who's probably a slapper himself. But yeah, it's not scenes.
Another argument is that like they aren't the first people to do this. Like this has been going on for a decade. Whoever said it, Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
The posters. Like they aren't the people that invented this.
I mean, 2 things that I saw Dana White say. Number one, no one cared about it in the past, and now all of a sudden I get involved. Everyone cares about it. Yeah, because in the past it wasn't being shoved down our throats. It was just living there. It was like I follow the UFC. I don't follow this nonsense. And the other one is he did the classic thank you to the media for making this such a success. I mean, if keeping 1/5 of the AEW audience and hovering around the Mendoza line on the viewership ratings, like if that's a success to you and it ain't, then okay, you're welcome. But it ain't a success. Us talking about it has not turned this into success at all.
No, you touched on something interesting though. if you're Merab, if you're another UFC fighter, you now have something concrete where you can come to the UFC and say, promote me like this. Like, you're not promoting me even at this level. Promote me like this. You know, there's been various points where there's been criticism levied at the UFC where it's like, you're not doing enough to promote this fight. And then Dana White or a UFC representative will kind of have some kind of counter narrative that's typically, it's trending this way, we're doing this much business, yada, yada. But now the fighter, if you're a fighter or if you're a manager, if you're somebody with an invested with a stake in this, you can come to the UFC and say, you should promote me at least more than Power Slap.
Yeah, and they're
right?
not.
Now you have a baseline level. Now you have an example to say, this is how much you guys are pushing this. Push me at least as much as this. And it would be hard for them to come up with a counter to say, well, we've been doing it, this, that, the other. I need to see results. There's tangible evidence to say, push me at least as hard as this.
It's all nonsense. And it feels like they're very much out of touch with this, but God bless. Apparently there's an audience on something called Rumble, whatever the fuck that is.
One last thing on it. I did see odds on a couple books going into Saturday night.
Awesome.
I didn't expect to see that.
I mean, I'm sure they're they're calling in their favors and stuff.
The regulation goes a long way. The regulation goes a long way toward that. If the Nevada Athletic Commission is putting their stamp of approval on it, and again, I think there's a lot of questions whether people would say that should be the case, then
these guys aren't athletes. You guess what? Guess what? Luke Rockhold and Mike Perry, Eddie Alvarez and Chad Mendes, what they're doing on April 29th, they're not allowed to do that in Nevada.
Crazy, right? Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? With those athletes, with those legitimate pro athletes, former champions, whatever, what they're doing on April 29th in Colorado, they are not allowed to do in Nevada. Think of, and then we got fucking Joe Blow with the fucking beard and the what? And that guy is allowed to compete in Nevada? Get out of here.
Yep. Yeah.
And
there's a legit
and then he looks off to the side, he's like, how much does the top guy make? 45. This guy's making big money. He's making $45K to get his fucking brain slapped out of his head. Oh, that's big money. I mean, he wipes his ass with $45K. What are you talking about? $45K to get slapped? You can't pay me $250,000 to do that. Anyway, can we talk about Merab and his future plans here for a second? I don't know why.
Yes,
because we talked about what stadium it was in and why it was there.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah. Wasn't that different on TV?
What is he? Are you serious? Are you gonna? Why would you do this? Why would you say this right now? I was just moving on for this. No,
I wish the Virgin.
By the way, him walking out. Eric, you've watched this scene before. I've been there before. Him walking out with that low roof and the fans on the side.
It's fine.
I was taken back to 2009 WEC Uriah Faber.
There is a little bit of that. Especially
Carlos Condit coming out. Come on.
Small venues do that, right? The small venues where it feels like the crowd is on top of you.
Lucas Dresky knocked the fan's beer out of his hand.
It was amazing.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
What does Merab do now, though? What does Merab do now?
God.
Stop it with this.
It's tough. I think a lot of people are kind of placing their own feelings and values onto this, right? They want Merab to act the way that they would act. They want him to take a title shot against his friend no matter what, or they want him to stay respectful and not take a title shot against his friend no matter what. Ultimately, the only two people's opinion that I care about, the only two people that I feel need to have had a conversation about this are Aljamain Sterling and Merab Dvalishvili. And maybe the coaches. Those are the only two that I care about. If they've worked out some kind of thing, and you have to assume that they've had a conversation where it's like, Aljo's thinking about 45, he's been talking about it, it's no secret. What's the timeline for that? Where are we looking? Merab deserves to be fighting for a UFC title, and I don't think either of them would disagree with that. Those are the only two whose opinion I care about on this. I really don't care about anybody else. Merab should do this, Merab should do that. Merab's going to be loyal to his friend, and he's proven that, and there's nothing that would counter that narrative at the moment. He has shown to be that person, and so has Aljo. Their conversation is the only one that I care about.
And by the way, they don't seem too bothered about the scenario right now. Now, of course, Aljo has a fight coming up. That's the beauty of all this. It's in a month and a half. This could be a moot point come May 7th. We don't necessarily have to worry about it right now. Like, again, not trying to harp on this, but like, it seemed like Dana was low-key threatening him that, if he didn't, like, what are we talking about? He has a title fight. If he loses, Aljo loses, and Lord knows they probably want him to lose, then you've got Merab waiting there. And by the way, now you have a great storyline. Merab, the teammate, now going after Henry, and Merab versus Henry. I don't know who's the favorite in that fight. I guess it's Henry if he
Well,
looks
that's if
great
Henry-
against Aljo. You know what I mean? But that's a fantastic matchup.
Well, also, what do you do with Sean O'Malley at this point? He's the number one contender right now. Like there's a lot
What do you do
going
with
on.
Cheeto if he beats
I was
Corey?
gonna say Cheeto Corey. Like, does Merab still need another fight before he gets a title shot? Like, what does Sean O'Malley do? There's so many questions that we still need answered in the bantamweight division. It's not like Merab is just sitting there and it's just like, do you want the title shot with Aljo? Yes or no? There's too many questions on board right now for me to decide.
There is something to the idea, though, that this is the type of performance that Merab could have campaigned for a title shot, right? Like,
for sure.
On the
For
back
sure.
of this performance, he could have said, Cheeto and Corey, you guys are great. Sean O'Malley, you barely beat Peter Yan, if you even beat Peter Yan. I just dominated him. I deserve a title shot. Now, there's a world where that can happen, right? So there is something different about his campaign. There is something lost in the idea that his teammate is holding the belt. But I don't care if he doesn't care. Why should I be so concerned about Merab's title shot? If he wants to sit back and wait for the opportunity to clear up because he's loyal to Aljamain Sterling, God bless. I don't care. I truly could not care less. This man is managing his own career and he's loyal to Aljamain Sterling. Those two have worked it out, or I assume that those two have worked it out, and we just need to sit back and watch what happens.
Honestly, the amount of times that we've been faced with this predicament, especially in the last few years, is very minimal, right?
Yeah.
I know. Like we've talked about John Fitch and Josh Koscheck back in the day. There was John Jones and Rashad Evans back in the day. There was Rory and GSP. Honestly, I don't know if there's 10 examples off the top of my head. Is there 10 examples of these?
Kane and DC.
Kane and DC, but again, DC moved, right? He went down.
Something always happens.
Yes.
Except for I guess Jones and Evans. They ended up fighting because the relationship fractured based on this. But most of the time, this thing tends to sort itself out.
Exactly. So it's and it's not like Aljo just fought and now we're searching for his next opponent. It's fine. Everything is fine here. And Aljo beating Cejudo isn't exactly a shoo-in. And to your point, GC, great point. Like we have a huge bantamweight fight coming up in 2 months. Excuse me, 2 weeks. If Cheeto knocks out Corey Sandhagen in a minute, there's going to be way more momentum and push for him to get a title shot than Merab. Because I understand some
But
people.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem for Merab.
Yeah, well, because it wasn't the most fan-friendly fight, right? I don't think people are.
But he could have made a great argument based on this. If he said, I'm next in line, he could have been. He truly could have been. To dominate Peter Yan that way, somebody who it seems like Sean O'Malley is kind of next in line after closely squeaking by, Merab would have had a great case. And this is the problem with waiting. This is the problem with not immediately going after what you're going to get. But he doesn't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, and you mentioned the not fan friendly thing. In my opinion, it was only that because of how dominant he was to Petr Yan. It just felt like Yan had nothing to even offer him.
Oh, and by the way, I was blown away by the performance, especially his gas tank. I mean,
I've seen some people saying
I see
that,
jabrones, but like, come on.
Oh, he failed 38 takedowns.
for
It's just like, bro, he attempted 50. Like he's not going to get that many.
Yeah. Also, he
You're not understanding.
landed
I
11.
mean, shout out to Jan's takedown defense on a lot of those. Like, I mean, it was pretty impressive, the balance that he had.
Merab's game is not efficiency. It's overwhelming volume. He's destroying you by just breaking you because you can't keep a pace. He fights at a pace that I don't think many, if any, fighters can withstand. It's truly like a crushing pace, and he continues to get better and better and better at it.
I love it. I have no problem with it whatsoever. Different strokes, different folks. That's his thing. God bless. Question is,
Marcus Williams sent me a DM on Twitter. Burns and Usman was a recent example. Teammates, they ended up going to different gyms and
it was fine.
competing.
Yeah, it was fine.
And it all worked
I mean,
out.
those dudes didn't raise a stink at all. They weren't the best of friends, and there's a ton of guys at that gym, but still, good for them.
Yeah.
If you're our good friend Danny Rubenstein, you were rocking his gear last week, GC.
Yeah, shout out.
And Sayat, what the hell do you do with Petr Yan now?
Man.
I mean, 2 years ago, if you would have told me that he'd be in a rut, losing 4 of 5, I thought he was on his way to like having like a 3-year run as bantamweight champion. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people did.
Now,
Like,
you got to take a step back just to build him back up.
You have to. I mean, like he's fought nothing but killers since the Aldo fight. Like he's fought nothing but killers. Take a step back against like a big name, a Garbrandt, a Cruz, something like that. Like,
Man, him versus
make it a big
Garbrandt would
fight.
be interesting.
I saw some people said, welcome Davison Figueiredo to the bantamweight division.
Oof.
I mean, take a step back against a big name. Like, that's like him versus Garbrandt. I mean, he would force the
Here's the thing.
pace against Garbrandt.
If I'm managing Cody's career, like I want
you
to
don't want that.
take your time. Just keep racking up.
Trevin Jones to Piotr Jan is a huge jump.
Listen, I like it for Piotr. I don't like it for Cody.
And quite frankly, it's a big step down for Jan.
No.
There
We
are
need to step
levels
down.
between that.
We need to step down.
That's too far for me.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you want?
He's
What do you
not.
want?
He's not Cody Garbrandt
Bruce?
territory. I'm sorry. Like that's just.
You need to see one go through the hoop. At this
Yes.
point. Like the confidence has to.
Just
That's
get a
fine.
win.
That's fine.
Especially the way he got dominated.
But you can do that stylistically without taking that big a drop down to the unranked territory. Like
I mean, he's
Yeah.
fringe. He's got a name. I get it, but if I'm Cody's manager, I'm not touching that.
you can find a better stylistic matchup. The fighters that he faced are the best of the best of the best. Like you can find a ranked bantamweight that doesn't need to be
Yeah.
that far.
I mean, 15 right now in the bantamweight division is Jack Shore, who's no longer there. Chris Gutierrez, Adrian Yanez is tough. Umar Nurmagomedov.
Yeah.
Chris Gutierrez is tough.
These are the
Yes.
fights.
These are tough fights.
Yeah, they're tough. Peter Yan is really good, man. This is tough, but he's really
Song
good.
Yadong.
Great.
Dominic Cruz,
Line it up. I mean, Cruz.
tough for Cruz.
Like, and then you
That's
get
a
into
tough
that,
fight
and then
for
you get into
Cruz.
that 10 range. Like, I would not want to see him fight Ricky Simone or Umar Nurmagomedov. I feel like that's just another like killer and waiting in the wings.
I think this is some recency. Like, man, Yan is really good.
Well, the thing is, he's
Jan is
fought
really good.
the best of the best. That's why just a small step back.
Yeah, Cody Garbrandt is not a small step back.
Nah.
Cody Garbrandt is jumping off the cliff.
He needs a
That's-
Jermaine Franklin type of fight. You get what I'm saying?
Nah, he can go into that top 10 to 15 range and find a nice fight.
I mean, that's the top 10 to 15. Ricky Simone, Umar
Fight
Nurmagomedov,
those guys. Great.
Adrian Yanez.
Ricky
By the way,
Simone,
perfect.
Adrian Yanez.
Umar, that's a tough.
Where's Rob Font, right?
Rafa is 6.
He's got a fight though.
Yeah, I know, but
So you can fight Font on the back of that. Great.
I mean, all these dudes are tough.
There's
Chris Gutierrez.
does Peter Yan ever hold the UFC bantamweight title again?
Man,
Crazy, right?
man, he's only 30, right?
That knee changed everything.
It's the
That may
biggest
change
like what if. What if he
God.
had just never thrown it? Where would we be at?
actually, I'm gonna reverse course on that.
Okay.
He could. I'm not gonna predict it, but he could.
I think this is
Crazy
very
things have happened in the
Aljo
sport.
leaving the division
Craziest
opens things
thing.
up a ton.
him
right?
versus
Aljo's
Henry.
the
If
big-
Henry is
the biggest
really
roadblock.
Henry, like if he's back, tough matchup.
Man, Peter's
With the wrestling,
so good,
I
man.
know.
I'm not ready. I'm not
Also,
ready
how does
to
he beat
bury-
Merab?
I'm not betting. Yeah, that's gonna always be a tough fight. Clearly, that wasn't his best performance, right? That was not great. I'm not ready to throw the dirt on the casket yet. That
No,
dude is still
Of course not.
that dude is still top of the top, in my opinion.
You know, it'd be a sick fight, by the way. Him versus Cheeto.
Great fight. And why is that like? Why is there not a level between Merab and Garbrandt? Like Cheeto is that level between.
Just because of how stacked the
Font is that
bantamweight
level
division is.
between. Sandhagen is that level between. They had a great fight last time.
Yeah. No, I just think that now that you've got these wrestlers at the top, Merab, Henry, Aljo, how good.
These guys we just named, none of them are wrestlers. O'Malley, you could run that.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking about winning the belt again.
Oh, yeah. That's tough. It's going to be tough sledding, in my opinion. Once Aljo leaves the division, though, things open up a little bit more. But yes, Merab is always going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean a little bit, but yeah, Merab's
Merab's going to be a problem for everybody. This is not a Peter Yan specific thing. Like, Merab is about to be a problem for every single bantamweight.
Cejudo could just be champion again.
Oh, yeah, very easily. May 6th, Newark. Shout out.
Shout out.
What about the fact that here we are, March of 2023, male 135, female 125, 2 best weight classes in the UFC. What a time.
Are you a lightweight guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't-
Wait, you still think that lightweight is
there's-
best?
Oh, yeah.
There's people that
You're
really.
big
that
time.
Are you shitting me?
Oh yeah.
Big time.
What?
Yeah.
That's like there's people out there that like it's not even a question for them.
Yo,
Lightweight is the division.
you're kidding.
No.
We're just talking about all these killers. Who do you have at lightweight? You have Islam, and
You could go
yeah, but
how many deep?
But you have all these guys who have already fought for belts already. Like all these guys are fresh. They've never fought for belts. They're all.
That's not how you're talking about a stacked division.
It's
You're not talking
fun,
about
it's
fresh.
different.
Yeah, that's not what you said.
Oh, this is.
You said the best division. First of all, women's 115 is better than women's.
Wow.
Second of all, men's lightweight is better than
what? Women's
lightweight.
115 is better.
Yeah.
The Apex division.
Yeah.
All they do is headline Apex events.
Yeah, the headline events. They're actually the best women on the roster.
You're kidding. Who's Zhang Weili fighting next? Who's the big fight for her next? Right now. Because I can name 4 big fights for Alexa Grasso right now.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. You could. Are they big? Are they actually big?
Yeah, the Valentina rematch. You've
who you got after that?
Aaron Blanchfield on the
So
locomotive.
there's not an Aaron Blanchfield at 115?
No.
First of all,
name 'em.
Tatiana Suarez is probably going to 115 as she stated.
Well, right now, 125.
Oh, okay. All of a sudden.
Okay, name them. Name the other one.
Tatiana Suarez. Okay, let's look at the women's
Yan Xiaonan.
strawweight.
Lovely person, lovely fighter, but is she a big draw?
Rose Namajunas, Jessica
Yeah,
Andrade,
where's Rose?
Amanda Lemos,
What?
Marina Rodriguez, Yan Xiaonan, Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Ribas is kind of in between, Tisha, Verna Janjiroba, Michelle Watterson, Angela Hill.
Oh, come on.
What do you mean? This is the bottom end of it.
Yes. Valentina, Mano Fiorot, Tyler Santos, Aaron Blanchfield, all better.
Yeah, they're names that you don't know. They're not better fighters.
What do you mean that I don't know? What are you talking about that
What
I
I'm
don't
saying,
know?
you're talking about fresh matchups. You're talking about it like it's interesting. That's fine, but that's not.
Casey
that doesn't make it
O'Neill
a
at the
division
bottom
deep.
there. Jennifer Maya at the bottom there.
That doesn't make a division deep.
What do you
Just
think,
because-
GC?
Just because
What do you
they
think?
haven't fought for the title yet.
I think it's crazy how heated this is getting. The 125 versus
Yes.
115 debate.
This is
I love
actually,
it.
look,
I love it.
155 versus 135, I could say, all right, fine. 125 versus 115, no chance.
They're both better, and
You might as well bring in
it's not even
145.
close.
You might
It's
as well
not
bring
even
in
close.
145.
Just because they're matchups that you want to see. What has Casey O'Neill done?
bring in
What has
145?
like?
In a week, Casey O'Neill is about to come off a win over Jennifer
Okay.
Maya.
Wow.
Wow.
The pick is in.
That's I'm with you that like there's momentum behind the division. I like it. It's great. I feel like flyweight is exciting as it's ever been. Is it deep? Nah,
Yes.
man. It's just not. And 115 is like objectively deeper by miles, as is men's lightweight.
Miles. I mean, Miles.
Yeah.
No.
We're at Michelle Watterson at
close.
10, and she's
Yeah.
like, she's not going to fight for a title.
The 10th best flyweight. Who's the 10th best flyweight?
Arujo.
Yeah, she's fighting for the title.
I mean, she's in the
Better
mix.
prospect than
Yeah.
Listen,
Watterson.
I'll put the top five flyweight versus we'll do
Again,
top 6.
now you're changing. You're moving the goalposts.
No,
right?
I'm not. I'm saying what's the better weight class? The
Yeah.
top 6
What's
versus
the better weight class? So the weight class is only the top 5 now.
Okay, so let's go
We're just
top.
moving the
I'm just
goalpost-
trying to say. Okay, let's go top 10. Let's go
do the
top
best weight
10.
class, but only talk about who's the best champion.
Let's go top
so we'll
10.
Just do number 1.
Let's go top
just do
10.
number 1.
Okay, Zhang versus Alexa Grasso. I'll give you the nod on that. But the rest of the division, Esparza, Shevchenko, Rose, we don't know if she's fighting again. Against Manon, Lemos versus Tyler Santos, Blanchfield Andrade. We know the answer to that one. Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. She's playing both sides of the fence. Chukagian Yan Xiaonan, Lauren Murphy, Mackenzie Dern, Jennifer Maya, Tisha Torres.
Yeah, Lauren Murphy and Mackenzie Dern. We've got
Yeah, okay.
to the point
Oh,
where
we
where
get to the 7th.
strawweight obviously comes over. Yeah, there's more than 7 fighters in the division.
I'm reading
I don't
them.
know if you know this.
I'm reading them.
You're getting to the back half where flyweight falls off a cliff.
But the top
That's
5,
point.
the top 5
Okay,
are
but
better.
that's not a weight class. The top. You said
What is the
flyweight
most
is the deepest weight
interesting-
class.
Yes.
You didn't say the top 5 flyweight are more
That's
Playing
the
interesting.
semantics. I'm saying,
Are we
what is the most
arguing about
interesting weight
deepest?
class?
Yes. Is the argument deepest or most
Both.
interesting?
I'll say both.
No, it's just not true.
It's
Like
both.
I think bantamweight in the men's division is the most interesting.
Lightweight.
I don't know where I
Come on,
lie
man.
on the deep thing. I mean, this I can't believe like
We've
it's
got
just-
dudes like Jalen Turner like clinging on to like top 15 in lightweight. I mean, come on, man.
Could we agree that bantamweight is infinitely more interesting than lightweight? If you want to play the
Chris Gutierrez
Well,
is
the top-
13th. Chris
the
Gutierrez
top-
is disgusting.
The top is
Umar is 11th. Like it's deep, dude.
the top is
it's crazy deep.
kind of needs to sort itself out at lightweight, and there's also some old guard that probably needs to get
What's the fight?
moved
Can I see
out.
this? What's the fight for Islam that you are dying to see?
Benil.
Yeah.
Dying?
You were gonna say that.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view blockbuster.
See, now we're just changing the argument.
What?
It was deep weight
I'm
class. Now
talking
it's
interesting.
Is there a fight for the champion
I'm
that you're
talking
most
interest-
interested in seeing?
Yes.
It's like we're just
That's a
changing the argument.
byproduct of what's interesting. Interesting to me is
You said
Henry
deep.
Cejudo
Is
versus
it deep
Aljamain
or
Sterling.
interesting?
All of it.
No, those are two different things.
Oh God.
Nah, 135 is far and away more
Okay,
interesting.
Those are two different
be the judge and jury here, GC. Who's right?
On interesting,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
135.
I never said
135
anything
is
about
way
interesting.
more interesting than 155.
Interesting, deep.
No doubt
Use any word you want.
No,
Best
those are not the
deep.
same
You're
word.
Just,
For
you're
me, they are.
discrediting how deep 135
Yes.
is.
Those are
Umar
not the same
Nurmagomedov is 11th. Chris Gutierrez is 13th. Yana is 12th. Like, dude, it is deep.
Oh boy.
Can we put
Ricky
it?
Simone is 10th.
How do we
Ricky
put the
Simone
polls
just
in the
body
chat?
Slam Jack Shore through the canvas at UFC Long Island.
Put it up.
Can we put a poll in the
Put it
chat?
up.
I see
Go-
them
go
doing
do
it all the
something.
other
Put it up.
times. Okay, how do we do this? Does anyone know how? There's no one know how. I see.
No, I
It's
know
just
how.
crazy.
No one knows how.
You guys are changing the
Let me
argument on the
step away
fly.
from
No, I'm not changing anything. Deep,
Interesting and
interesting
deep are not the same thing.
For me, they
They're
are.
not.
Interesting, deep, and best are all the same.
Oh,
for
well,
this.
great. Well, so we've established that you're just making up.
Okay,
stuff.
so this is a good. I still don't agree with you, but fine. I feel like you're in a yes. What is it? What is it, Frank? Do you know to make the poll?
So Aljo Sterling just texted us saying, "Tell Ariel I said to school these boobs about the best weight class."
Did he really?
He did. He texted.
Yo,
us
he
all.
just texted me. Yo, school the rookies, school the Jackman. This guy. Can you believe this shit?
Shout out, Aljo.
For the poll. What's the
Deepest weight class. Deepest.
Best. Who
Best?
Who did Aljo just text? I'm FaceTiming Aljo right now on the show.
Give me the final question.
Tell us.
He texted me.
Let's see. This is crazy. The disrespect. Is he gonna pick up?
He might be, busy.
Aljo, what about the disrespect? Tell him right now. Tell him, Aljo. Tell him.
Yeah, tell me, Aljo.
Stop disrespecting the bantamweights, guys. Don't disrespect the bantamweights like that.
Is it even a debate? 135 versus. It's not even a debate.
It's not even close.
That's
These
not,
guys don't fight each other at lightweight.
they don't fucking fight each other.
Now-
And all the dudes have already fought for a belt. You've got fresh matchups up the wazoo at 135, right?
It's not a thing.
Exactly.
Much love, Aljo. You're the man. Congrats on the win with Merab. Peace out. Hey, don't let them force you guys to fight. All right, friendship over everything.
We're not fighting.
All right, much love. Talk to you later.
Peace.
Peace. There he is. Aljo just was chiming in. I mean, that is incredible.
Poll's been created.
Poll's been created? Oh, there it is. What is the best weight class? Bantamweight. There, 50-50. Stop the count.
You want to stop at a tie?
50-50.
Stop. And what? Oh my God. Guess who just texted me right now? Casey O'Neill. I swear to God. They're all chiming in. New York Rick and I were never friends. Oh my. Let me call her too. One second. Let's see if she picks up. Oh, they're all coming for you, New York Rick. They're all
I'm ready.
I
Bring
love
them
it.
on.
I love it.
Bring
This
them
is
on.
crazy.
Where are the 115ers back in New York Rick?
This is crazy. Yeah,
I know.
No one's
Where's the
coming.
115?
No one's
they
coming
need
to
to
help.
come to my defense.
Oh, love
Casey,
it.
tell him right now. Tell him right now.
Me and New York, Rick, we're never friends.
Can you believe this shit?
What have you done, New York, Rick?
Yeah, what have you done, New York Rick?
Nothing.
Wow.
He says nothing. He's a never was. And you notice I'm mentioning you a lot more now. And I said, what did I say? Next Monday, you're going to talk about your win over Jennifer Maia, yes?
Yeah, and he's going to be crying over it if he doesn't bet on me.
That's right. That's right. Good luck to you. Much love.
Bye.
Casey O'Neill chiming
Bye,
in.
Casey.
Who else?
Oh, I love that.
This is incredible.
Do I have to now back Jennifer Maia here?
It sounds like it.
I mean, you have to because I've already backed Casey O'Neill.
No, I can't.
Who's the favorite in that one?
Casey O'Neill.
There you go.
Yeah, I think Casey's gonna.
627 votes, bantamweight 54%.
Stop the count. Stop the count.
Stop it now.
Wow. No. We'll give it a few more minutes.
You don't really believe this, right? This is like you saying that
I mean, what more can I?
the Virgin.
I literally.
This is
have
like you
nothing
saying
else
the
to say.
Virgin Hotel was the same as the Apex.
On TV, it's the same.
No, people are really this dug in on the lightweight division. Last week, Jed thought he was doing this victory lap of the card last week. He was like,
Wait, saying what?
he was like, look at this card, and people want to tell me bantamweight's the best division.
It's what?
Grinning ear to ear when he said it, I was like, oh, I actually kind of like this card for bantamweight division.
Oh my God. Can I just go back to one last thing that I said earlier that I really think is why I get excited about the bantamweight division? And to a degree, women's flyweight. None of these people, they're all fresh, right?
That's a different conversation.
No,
I
it's
agree with
not.
that.
It's not.
No, I agree with that.
Okay.
Lightweight is.
It's a lot of the
is
older guard.
stagnant. Yeah, 100%. That I agree with. They're really good though. But yes, I 100% agree with that.
O'Malley,
I'm more
Merab.
interested. I'm more interested in seeing some of those storylines develop. That doesn't mean they're better fighters, though. But yeah, I agree with that. 100%. That I'm on board with.
Okay, this is
Flyweight is fresh, for sure.
women's flyweight.
Women's flyweight, yeah.
It's great. And I think there's like legit, like you can make a case for 5 people who are going to be champions this time next year.
That I don't know about.
Yes.
But I'm interested in finding out.
Grasso, Shevchenko, Manon Fiorot, Tyler
That's
Santos.
a lot of champions. Jeez.
Casey, I said you could make a case. Anyway,
I mean, Shevchenko, Tyler Santos, Manon Fiorot, Blanchfield,
Casey O'Neill.
Casey O'Neill, sure. You could
What do you mean?
really
Don't say sure. She's watching right now. She's going to come for your
was
neck.
adding it to the list. What is this? Like what?
This is a great transition to what else I wanted to talk about, which was Usman Nurmagomedov, who now is still the Bellator bantamweight champion, remains undefeated. Massive win for him over Benson Henderson. It was never close. I believe, guys, Usman Nurmagomedov, who is now 17-0, 17-0, excuse me, 16 going into that fight. I believe you can make a very strong case that he. No, I don't believe the case. I believe Usman Nurmagomedov is a top 5 lightweight in the world, regardless of weight class, regardless of promotion. Excuse me, regardless of promotion, Usman Nurmagomedov top 5. Now the top 5 in the UFC is 1 second.
Islam Makhachev,
Yes.
Charles Oliveira,
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler.
I-
Usman Nurmagomedov,
He's in that mix.
Michael Chandler. Who wins?
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Can you make a very strong case for him to win?
You could argue
yeah,
it,
yeah.
for sure.
Can you make a strong case for him over Chandler? Yes. Can you make a strong case for him versus Beneil? Yes. Gaethje? Yes. Poirier? Yes. You can make the case. Even
100%.
Charles.
I don't think it's definitive. I mean, just quite frankly, like we need to see him against the level of competition that these guys are fighting. I don't think you can like definitively say, but could you make the argument and would you think that he'd be out of his depths against any of these guys? Not one of them.
No.
Not one of them.
No. He's incredible.
He's amazing.
I'm a huge. By the way, he's a Nurmagomedov and he has that skill, but he has the striking as well.
Yeah, dude, he's
Well,
nasty.
he's primarily a striker. That's the difference
Yeah.
between him and the other Dagestani fighter.
And how? Let me see how young he is. Where's my thing? Too many
Yes.
tabs up here.
I don't know if
Just
you can-
24 guys. 20 freaking 4. This guy. And he's
I think
17-0.
This is the problem is you're never going to be able to say definitively that he's like top 5 just because so many of the best lightweights in the world are in the UFC. But Bellator being able to say that we have somebody who's in that convo, who may be the best, is great for them because he's as good as any of them.
Oh, he's amazing. That was.
He could compete with any of them.
I really think you can make a case that right now he goes to the UFC and he's in the top 5 to 3 off the bat. He'll never fight Islam, of course, and much respect on that. But I think he's incredible, and it speaks to this. This is the first time in Bellator's history, and this is the first time really in over a decade. As much as we want to talk about Bellator feeling like they don't have momentum, and there's a lot of things that I think they do wrong, and there's a lot of things that they could do better. Guys, 205 champ is Vadim Nemkov. 185 champ is Johnny Eblin. 170 champ is Yaroslav Amasov. 155 champ is Usman Nurmagomedov. 145 champ is Patricio Pitbull. Even 135, you can make the case, there's Stotts coming up, there's Patchy Mix coming up, there's Sergio Pettis who's looked good. You can put him in that conversation, but if you don't, all those guys, A, are really good. B, are somewhat homegrown. C, are young-ish, if not young. And D, best part, aren't UFC retreads, aren't cast-offs, right? They're all their own guys. And okay, just for the conversation, could you bring this up and not be laughed at? Vadim Nemkov versus
100%.
Jamal Hill or Yuri? Yes. I know they fought back in the day, but long time ago. Johnny Eblin versus Alex Pereira?
Yep.
Yaroslav Amasov versus Leon Edwards as of this moment? Usman Nurmagomedov versus Islam? Fuck, what a fight.
Wouldn't happen, but yeah.
Yes. Patricio Pitbull versus Alex?
Absolutely.
And then, the 135 situation, if you want to talk about Sergio because he's a cast, like those, 5 guys? That's a pretty damn good lineup that they need to be proud of. Now, the issue is there's no star there, right? Like there's no box office draw, but I feel like for the first time in their history and for the first time ever, at least in the last decade plus since Pride went away, there's a promotion that can actually say, our champions can hang with your champions. And that's a big deal to me because it all starts with your champions. And obviously you got to do Is there a huge demand for Jason Jackson versus Yaroslav Amosov?
No,
Maybe not.
It falls off.
It falls
quite
off
frankly, after the champions.
But the champions are special. Can we give them props on that?
100%. I agree with every single one of those fighters could be in competition with a UFC champ or top level UFC competition. No doubt.
And like, I mean, you know, they're not superstars, but it helps the draw that 3 of their champions are undefeated. Johnny Evelyn, Amosov, and Nurmagomedov all undefeated, which is...
Who's the best one of the 5? Nemkov?
Who's the best fighter of those
Yeah.
guys?
I mean, Johnny Evelyn...
Like, who's the pound? You know, we never talk
Pitbull.
about pound for pound in Bellator. Who's the pound for pound
I
best
mean,
in
maybe
Bellator?
Usman. Maybe Usman. But
I feel like-
Pitbull's proven it on every single level.
I mean, Yaroslav is also 27-0.
Yeah,
like,
that last performance against you, Logan Storley. Does Bellator
you're
do
right.
pound
All,
for
all
pound?
their champions are...
Yeah, they do pound for pound. They have their own ranking.
They do? Who's number 1? Let me see. Rankings. Oh, pound for pound is Pitbull. Pitbull,
Yeah, I mean,
Nemkov,
he's-
Amosov.
He's earned that spot.
AJ McKee's in the top 4.
You wouldn't have him? Yeah, of course he's in the top 4.
When was the last time these were updated? Usman
Yeah.
at 7?
Yeah.
That's
No,
what
I'm sure that has to be updated. But yeah, AJ McKee is a freaking savage. AJ McKee's as good
Over
as these
Usman?
guys too.
Over Usman.
No, I think it'll be updated, right? I
Right,
think-
right.
But yeah, AJ McKee could come over to the
I mean,
UFC
here we
too
are.
and compete right away.
Here we
No
are
doubt.
waiting with bated breath for
the Bellator rankings?
pound for pound.
By the way, let me just say this about the Bellator rankings. At least they're honest. You know, they make them themselves.
The problem is it's mostly a 1 to
Yes.
2-3 person ranking, and that's the problem. That's always going to be the issue. Is who are they going to fight? Like I've been on a hill alone with my Chris Cyborg is the best women's fighter on the planet, and probably the best women's fighter ever. But like, who's she fighting? Like it's a rough situation. Like she's waiting for a lot of fights to resolve and hopefully for a contender to emerge, but nobody that's going to press her, nobody that's going to push her.
Here's one argument. AJ McKee is 4th in pound for pound rankings, but then he's 7th.
Yeah, I just saw that.
featherweight
I just saw that. That is bizarre.
and 3rd in featherweight.
That being said, where do I sign up for AJ McKee versus Usman Nurmagomedov? At 155. Where can I sign
yeah,
up
it got to
for
be
that?
155.
I mean,
Yeah, he's in the tourney.
yeah. We don't know the. Do we know the? Yeah, we know the bracket.
Yeah, it's going to happen at
So
some
when
point.
will,
If he keeps,
when would that happen?
if they both keep
what-
winning, I don't know if it's the semis or the.
Yeah, if they win, we're gonna get it. That's great.
Well, Usman won his first one, but AJ obviously has to win, and the jury's still out on if 55 is best for him as opposed to 45. But still, that's a big time fight. But yes, that is obviously the issue. There's a big drop off. You know, Evelyn versus Fabian Edwards. It's all well and good, but can we just talk very quickly about Michael Venom Page?
Man. Well,
Awesome.
just right before we move on, it
Yes.
would be the finals. Nurmagomedov.
It would be the finals.
Oh, I mean, they struck gold last time when they
Yeah.
got Pitbull and AJ McKee.
That makes me a little nervous.
No, why? I love that. Let's get it.
Yeah, but what if he doesn't make it
Do
to the
their
finals?
business, do their work, and let's
Well, then-
have a great final.
Then very likely you could get Usman versus.
By the way, that
McKee.
tournament is sick. Like, you know, I'm talking about how the divisions are not super strong. That one is good. That is a good tournament right there, and I'm excited about
Yes.
how that's.
Hopefully
gonna
they
play
could
out.
just get it done within a year because they drag out
That's
too
the
long.
problem. Yeah,
You
But,
forget that there's an actual
that tournament's great. No matter what the final is, that is going to be a legit championship. That's awesome.
Like, yo, I legit don't remember when the bantamweight tournament started, and it's not even done.
Oh yeah, it's been.
It's still going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it over in like a couple weeks? Though?
Yes, but it's still going. That's the point.
Yeah.
Now, Michael Venom Page a few years ago kneed Evangelista Cyborg Santos in the head and dented his skull.
Practice skull. Yeah.
Yes, and now they're oh Jesus, oh my God, look at that!
Holy-
He freaking dented his skull, and now he comes back and he kicks Goichi Yamauchi in the leg. And initially, when they were cutting, like when it was live,
Oof.
initially, do you know there was that one angle that was the broadcast angle, and you're like, you weren't really sure what happened, but then there's another angle. I don't know if you saw it, where it's from his back, and you see the knee explode.
Yeah, like there's a dent in his
Yes.
knee as well. Yeah.
What the fuck? That was
He's
crazy.
a very dangerous man. Very dangerous.
That was just because at first you were like, oh no, you know, we've seen legs explode before, but it's usually the guy kicking that then gets checked or something or hits the knee. it's very rare to see the guy doing the kicking and then the opponent's leg explodes. Poor Goichi Yamauchi.
What you usually see is muscle, tendon, those types of injuries, and you see something snap, right?
Yeah.
In this case, he popped his kneecap. He just he shattered it. He blew it up. I mean, it's pretty, honestly, like most of the time that ends up bad for Michael Venom Page is what typically happens there.
That was the crazy part.
Same with the skull thing. Like you're hitting the hardest parts of the body. Typically those end worse for the person striking, for the person attacking it. But he's a lethal man.
Oh my
he's
God.
a lethal man. And he's just so much fun. He's just so good to have around. I know people have kind of soured on his prospects as like a future champion a little bit, like and how Bellator built him, feeling like they built him either too slow or too fast or whatever the case may be. But every time Michael Venom Page fights, you know you're getting entertainment, you know you're getting a show, you know he's going to give you everything he has and put on a performance from the moment he steps out of the curtain all the way to the end, all the way to the celebration, all the way to the mic. He's just one of the best showmen we have in MMA, and I just love having him around. And not only in MMA, like BKFC, whatever he wants to do, Michael Venom Page is awesome. He's just an awesome dude to have in combat sports.
Would he be infinitely more popular if he was in the UFC? Like, look what happened to Chandler, right?
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt he would.
Yeah.
The style of fights that he brings.
Well, also, if he did these things to somebody that is UFC level competition, and Yamauchi, I think, is very good, so I don't want to make that the point of comparison, but if he was doing this in the UFC with that platform, with that stage against those caliber of fighters, he'd be a megastar probably. Like, the things he's doing are one of one. He's a special fighter.
At first, I was like, "Oh, this is such a bummer. It's unceremonious." But then I was like, "Holy shit! I can't believe he did
Look what
that."
he did.
Yeah.
That was a fun main card. By the way, it lasted like an hour and 40 minutes. It was tremendous. They kept it rolling, much better. I enjoyed that very much. So overall, a fun weekend. I have a problem right now, guys.
What's that?
So my computer is plugged in, right? But the plug is not plugged in. So do I just go? Is my
Yeah, your lav is on.
Okay, 1 second. I have to go under here. Sorry, these are things that we should check before the show, but it's not plugged in, Frank.
It's almost
I
like
don't
we
know
should
what to tell you.
rehearse.
There we go. Now it's plugged. Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Good thing we did the live,
Oh yeah.
Did you
How was
enjoy
that?
that?
Yeah,
That was
was
great,
good.
man.
Yeah.
That was great.
Couple other things before we get to our first guest, Merab. Speaking of Merab, his good friend and teammate, shout out to Chris Weidman, came back.
Oh yeah.
Stuff.
Didn't get the win at Polaris, but had a strong performance and then got on the mic afterwards and got quite emotional about just the comeback and the journey and all that stuff. So there was a period on Saturday where there was just a lot going on. There was just a lot happening. The UFC was happening. There was boxing happening in Liverpool. There was the Weidman thing happening. Then there was boxing at night in Australia. Tim Zhu against Tony Harrison. What do you want to say in your crick?
I was going to say not only reflective of his path back here, recovering from the injury, but also proclaiming like there's more still for him in the tank.
Yeah.
And there's still gas left in the tank. And when Chris Weidman fights, I'm watching, so
no doubt.
I'm interested in that.
And what about Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis?
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Ooh-wee. I mean, this is exciting. Got to do a little presser stuff on Thursday. By the way, I've had a good stretch of FaceTime calls.
Yeah,
And
they always seem to answer.
Yeah.
You got the juice.
I wonder if they're getting wise to the fact that they're going to be on air.
By the way, I have like 5 boxers' phone numbers in my phone. The chances that I would have Ryan Garcia's and that he'd be involved in this situation where they're delayed was pretty incredible.
And about the balcony call was fantastic.
Yes,
Yeah, but you and Ryan, this is the thing now. You guys are linked.
Yeah,
it's my guy.
This is it.
I mean,
Before we move on, I don't want to move on too quickly. Frank, can you hit the music?
Oh,
wow.
something happened?
The poll results are in.
Oh fuck!
Whoa.
Wait! What in? We didn't stop the count.
I mean, take a look. Just take a look.
Wow.
51 to 49.
Wow.
This is it. You're done. You're stopping the count.
This segment's about to be over.
No, we could keep it going.
Do we just leave it all show? I say we just leave it up.
Yeah, sure.
Stagnant poll.
Leave it up.
God, for clearly the best division, seems like bantamweight's lagging behind. You know.
All right, well, speaking of
for the
bantamweight-
number one with a bullet.
Speaking of bantamweight, the Davy Grant submission, that whole third round,
Oh yeah.
him taking the point away, and then him coming back and getting that insane, I think it was like a spinning back fist into
That was a great fight.
triangle choke.
Reverse triangle. Yeah.
I mean, reverse triangle. That was.
Yeah, I mean, some controversy because Sun Sao didn't get back the position.
Oh man, there were so many fence grabs on Saturday.
Well, there's that, but Sun Sao not getting back the position, I think, is a legit like error there, right? Like he's in a good position. He should have retained that, but he's very classy. End of an amazing career.
Yeah.
I don't think he's trying to make too much of a stink about it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he's happy to walk off into the sunset. But really, really tremendous career. Sun Sao's
Very under the radar.
Yeah,
Oh, for the
it's because he
GA,
never got
stand
that
up.
shot.
Right.
He was always right there on the precipice and couldn't get it. But to no fault of his own, he was a top fighter for a very long time, and kind of an unfortunate way to go out. You hope that it's not like that, but again, like classy as ever. Like he's a classy dude.
Imagine if that fight happened at the O2 this weekend. Place would be going nuts.
Oh,
Yeah.
And also, speaking of, former WEC fighters retiring, Benson Henderson, who we're going to talk to in about 30 minutes, calling it a career in the same spot where he successfully defended his title against Gilbert Melendez many moons ago. What a run he had. His interim lightweight title fight against Donald Cerrone is one of my favorite title fights of all time. That's when the Bendo moniker was born. Like his arm was just going like that and like that. It was unbelievable. I remember watching it with maybe we were married, but Versus, I was living in an apartment and it was on Versus, and the cable company and Versus had some sort of disagreement, so they took Versus away. So I had to go to my brother's apartment to watch that fight and live blog it for Versus.com, who I was working for at the time. And she came with me, and I was like, this is incredible what he's doing. And he wasn't really known at that time. And we were watching it together, and I mean, that was probably, 2009? And remember when he came over to the UFC, the Jim Millers of the world were like, these guys are going to get weeded out pretty quickly. That did not happen. Great run for him. WC champ, UFC champ, and just, all around great guy who's now going to be, with his wife who's getting into MMA full time and with the rest of the team over there at the lab. And also wanted to mention that they did officially announce Katie Taylor May 20th.
Oh yeah.
yes.
Oh baby,
That's
at the
exciting.
3 Arena. And dare I say, I'm not just, I'm not trying to sell, but like, I feel like it's a bigger fight.
Then Serrano?
Yes.
Oh man, I don't know about
No.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, come on, Eric.
Undefeated versus undefeated.
Only for Katie.
Undisputed versus undisputed, moving up in weight.
No.
Homecoming.
No.
It's a bigger
You
fight.
cannot sell me on this.
Listen.
This is absolutely
Zone, if you want me part of the broadcast, let me tell you right now, it's a bigger fight.
what this
it's a
will
better fight.
do is make the Serrano fight a bigger fight
If she wins.
if she wins, because now she's a 2-weight undisputed champion, and that will add increased stakes even to the Serrano fight, or just like give her more momentum and notoriety heading into that fight. But no, this is not the bigger
Her
fight.
getting
So
a
they
chance.
do
By the way,
this.
do you agree with this? Tougher fight. Serrano's smaller fighter moving up.
No, Serrano
She's
is,
moving up to 140. She
They
can
do
walk out with
this.
like 45 belts.
Serrano
Katie
is,
Taylor
is
wins.
Yeah.
the best on the planet.
Croke
No.
Park in what?
September? Sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
Now, I wonder if the odds are out for that. If we can, probably not, huh?
I'm
Which
gonna-
one?
I'm
Chantel?
gonna
Yeah.
say no.
I've
I
heard.
don't think they were.
Let's see.
Oh, there it is. Minus 180, Katie Taylor. Plus 140.
There you go.
And by the way, Taylor Serrano, minus 170, plus 130. Pretty much the same.
Yeah, except now she's the smaller fighter and she's a favorite.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah. So
It's a tougher fight.
no, it is not. It is
What
absolutely.
a time for boxing, though, right? And can I just say something?
Dude, what a time for boxing. They've got some
Yes.
big
Can I say, I'm
ones.
so tired of this
If-
Fury Usyk back and forth.
Why is it all on Twitter and
Stop.
Instagram?
Can you stop?
Can I give
This
a
is
hot
the
take here?
message.
Love it.
Can I give a hot take
Yeah,
here?
yeah, give it.
Please don't tell me you like this.
No.
I
I kind
say,
of like
I
it.
don't.
That's my
I
hot
was
take. I kinda
with
like it.
I was with Tyson Fury. When he was asking for 70-30, I was with Tyson Fury. And I know a lot of people were accusing him of ducking and saying, you don't want to really fight Usyk. I was with him. He's bringing a lot more promotionally to the table than Usyk is. Usyk's bringing belts, no doubt, but Tyson Fury was bringing a lot more to the table. when they both agreed, I said, great, this is the best of both worlds. Tyson called his bluff and wanted the 70-30, got it, and now they're going to fight. Now I'm starting to feel like, okay, does he really want to fight? Now I'm kind of like starting to question. Now with the rematch clause stuff, and it seems like Usyk has agreed to every single demand, and all of a sudden the fight seems to be not on track. Now I'm starting to feel like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah,
but I was with
sure.
him all the way. I was with him all the way. Tyson deserves the lion's share, no doubt in my mind. But now I'm kind of like, okay, what's happening here?
Too much sausage making. I don't need to know all of this. You know what I mean? I actually feel like it's turning people off.
Well,
Especially, by the way, when Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia figured it out with two separate broadcasters getting involved.
Don't pretend like that wasn't months of nonsense back and forth.
It wasn't videos and shit.
It was
everyone.
lots of them yapping at each other.
This is Tyson Fury with a special announcement. Peace and love, peace and love. I will not be signing. I mean, come on, enough.
Well, here's the thing. They need to do this because they need to win the court of public opinion, right? Usyk needs to be able to say, hey, I agree to everything you're saying, and you still don't want to fight me, you're ducking. And Tyson needs to be able to say, hey, I laid out some terms, he didn't agree to them, it's his fault. So they need to kind of win that public battle, and that's why we're kind of seeing how this sausage is made. But it's starting to turn in Usyk's favor because a lot of people are noticing that, like, Usyk's down for the cause. Usyk's ready to go and saying yes to everything. And all of a sudden, the terms keep changing a little bit. And I'm with Tyson Fury. He deserves every dollar that he's going to make. He deserves the lion's share. But Usyk seems game, man. Usyk seems ready to do it.
Just make it happen. April 29th would be a fun day. That fight plus the Luke Rockhold, Eddie Alvarez, BK day.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is going on in MMA that day, but who cares? That's great stuff.
Or if the date is the problem and Tyson's not ready to go right now, just go another time. Just do this fight. We need Usyk versus Fury. It needs to happen. Boxing's on a good little run, right?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And I can't wait for Terrence Crawford versus your landscaper.
Oh, stop. Stop that.
No, I mean, shame on Spence and Crawford. Shame on those
I agree.
guys. Everyone else is making the fights and you're not. I mean, Katie Taylor's fighting 9 weight classes up and you can't.
Oh my Lord. This is heinous. But yes, Crawford and Spencer have blown it in my opinion. Like this is the new Pacquiao. This is the new Pacquiao Mayweather. If it happens, it's going to happen way too late when nobody's even caring anymore.
Let me tell you about our good friends. Yes?
I was going to say by nobody caring, I mean lots of people caring because it was like one of the highest selling pay-per-views of all time.
By the way, I think Tank and Garcia could do easy over $1 million with all this buzz. The problem is the fan base is probably going to try to, pirate it, but
1 million.
The buzz last week was pretty big time, and I saw a lot of people weighing in, celebrities, people like, oh man, Ryan did so good. And I don't want to seem like I'm some kind of Ryan fanboy because I actually really like Tank as a fighter. Obviously, not a huge fan of some of the other stuff out of the ring. He's incredible. He's very talented, very polarizing. But Ryan, I thought, handled himself so well. You could tell he was annoyed on Wednesday, comes back, says, I'm not showing up until you show up. And then when they were doing the face-off, he was doing that. Oh, it was great.
It's a big fight. I think $1 million is a tough... The market for the pay-per-view market has drastically changed, and it is very tough to reach that number these days.
Yeah, especially with the young demo, right? Because the young demo is gonna, just try
and not just necessarily even the young demo, but social media as a function. Like the idea of I need to order this, sit in front of my couch, and sit with a pizza and some wings is tough to get people to do when there's going to be highlights on social media in 30 seconds.
Right. All around me. Did you see the promo?
I have not yet. GC saw it.
Yeah, I watched it. It was amazing.
Yeah. I was too busy fighting off Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah. And by the way, can we get a poll for women's flyweight too? No love. Can you do 2 polls at the same time?
I think we'd have to close this one down. Is it a good number that you want?
Once lightweight wins, we can just close it already.
I mean, now it feels like, what are these? I bet you if I did it on my...
What a swing. What a swing. 53-47.
Why is that a swing?
I mean, that's just...
Why is that a swing? Because it started off with bantamweight. Oh, really? Yeah. Do you think this is insurmountable?
It's looking like it, yeah.
Yeah,
of
2,000 votes
in.
This is shocking.
Yeah.